Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Irresistible and I'm a manifestation and soul alignment coach. My channel is geared towards helping you become your highest potential so that you can create and live the extraordinary life that is your birthright. In today's video, I'll be talking about what to do when you can't control your opposing thoughts. But before we get started, just a quick reminder that I offer both email and video coaching. So if you need help in manifesting any of your desires or in releasing any of your blocks, you can definitely check out all my coaching options. They are in the description below. And please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon in order to receive a notification anytime I upload a new video. When it comes to opposing thoughts, a lot of the time people find it very hard to deal with their opposing thoughts. They find them completely intrusive and they're just taking over their mental space, and they find it hard to shift from that. When you're entertaining your opposing thoughts, it kind of takes you out of the state of the wish fulfilled. I'm first going to explain what is meant by opposing thoughts. That's the first thing. The second thing, I'm going to share with you ways in which to deal with opposing thoughts. But first, it's important to understand what I mean by opposing thoughts. And I've spoken about that in another video. I will link it above. Opposing thoughts are any thoughts that are not in alignment with the state of the wish fulfilled, which are not in alignment with you having your desire, which are opposing your desire. They are not in and of themselves necessarily negative thoughts. I highly recommend you watch that video that I linked earlier because I described that in more detail. So how do you deal with opposing thoughts? There's the one best, most potent way is to do your manifesting practices in SATs, in the state akin to sleep. So essentially, anything you do in SATs, in the state akin to sleep, as you're falling asleep, your subconscious mind is much more receptive, in the sense there's no block from the conscious mind because your conscious mind is less active. And so it is able to go straight into your subconscious mind. When you do an affirmation or a mental image or a visualization, as in a movie, in SATs, any opposing thoughts you experience during the day are irrelevant. The idea is that if you do something in SATs, it will overpower any limiting or opposing thoughts that you may have during the day. So, you don't care. I have the opposing thoughts, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to manifest. So that's the first most potent way. The second way is to become conscious and aware of the opposing thought as it's happening without any judgment. The reason I talk about doing it without any judgment is because when you are judging yourself for having opposing thoughts, it is taking you into a negative spiral. You are feeling like, I can't control this. You can't control your thoughts. So this is your mind's way of making you feel bad about not being able to control your thoughts. So that's why I always say, don't judge yourself. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. You had that thought, just notice it. Don't feel bad for having it. Because with time, when you stop feeling bad about having it, that's when it dissolves. When you feel bad about having it, that's when it persists. That's the idea. So when you just observe it with no judgment, loving awareness, no self-criticism, oh, why did I have that thought? It's not helpful. You just notice it and you release it. You're able to dissolve that so it no longer shows up for you. Another thing you want to do when I say observe it with no judgment, I also want you to not try to convince yourself otherwise. So you don't have to activate your conscious mind and saying, well, that's not true. Money does grow on trees. You don't want to do that either, because sometimes it may feel hard, right? So that's why I say just notice it, observe it, with no judgment. Don't feel bad for having it, and also don't try to convince yourself of anything else. Just notice it and it will dissolve. That's the second way. The third way is to redirect. Now, the redirecting is something you can do in the beginning. If you notice it and you have some opposing thought, you affirm for the opposite of it. But this is something you can do when it first comes out. If you've been dwelling in that space for the whole day, it may feel harder to affirm. You can affirm. The idea is, if you affirm and affirm and affirm, it's going to overpower, or it's going to dilute any opposing thoughts that you have during the day. It's really about having a surplus of affirmations over opposing thoughts. So you want to make sure you're always affirming more than that. But it doesn't always feel easy to do that, because when you've already been thinking that the whole day, you may be actually activating opposing thoughts as you're saying the affirmations. So you want to be careful about that. So the redirecting is really the third way that you can deal with opposing thoughts, but you want to try to redirect early on before they spiral, because when the opposing thoughts spiral, it may be harder to redirect. But definitely, if you find that you can redirect and not feel resistance, definitely you can also do that. The final way you can deal with opposing thoughts is by persisting with a manifesting practice and persisting with it until you reach the state of feeling it real. And I talk about that in this video on how to hold the state very easily. I will link it above. When you reach that state of feeling it real, once you reach that state, you will have fewer opposing thoughts. It will feel easier for you to not have these opposing thoughts to begin with. Or if you do have opposing thoughts, you see them passing through. You're not so triggered by them. I also talk about what is meant by feeling it real. I will link it in the video above. It is that state of feeling like you are able to get your desire. Don't necessarily believe it, but when you reach that state, you have fewer opposing thoughts. So again, that is a very powerful way to deal with opposing thoughts. So essentially, there are ways of dealing with them. The idea is not to give in to them, and know that you are always in your power. You are always the operant power, even when it comes to your opposing thoughts. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then please like, comment, and share, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.